Scientific thinking and innovation has shaped our daily lives from business to medicine to education. And the world has seen a rapid change and a tremendous advancement in technology in recent years. We are here today to hear from the experts about their vision for what a future driven by technology will look like. We are excited to present our second Tech Talk this morning. Our team, Total Chaos, participates in FTC, or the First Tech Challenge, a robotics program that allows students like us to design, build, and program competitive robots. The Tech Talk began last year as a way to inspire youth in our community to pursue STEM-related careers. This year, we decided to examine our future with technology with our expo speakers. We would first like to thank Puppet, our host this morning. They have not only given us this amazing space, but continuous support in organizing this event. The Tech Talk would not be possible without them. So we're looking forward to an exciting day. We have 4 amazing speakers here who are looking forward to sharing their ideas with you. After our first 2 talks, we will have an intermission in which you can get some food and test drive our robot back there. Our raffle will be held after our 3rd talk, so hang on to your tickets. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Mr. Steve Brown. Steve Brown is an accomplished speaker, blogger, strategist, and executive coach with 25 years of experience in the high-tech sector. Steve works with a wide range of Fortune 500 companies and brands spanning the retail, hospitality, media, and communication sectors. As CEO of Possibility and Purpose LLC, he offers speaking and consulting services to all organizations that seek his help, whatever their size or focus. Using straightforward language, compelling visuals, and memorable stories, Steve decodes the future for his audiences and helps them understand how computing will provide them with incredible opportunity for innovation, differentiation, and value creation. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Steve Brown.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. There's still some business class seats available in the front here if anybody wants them. When I talk, I'm a bit of a spitter, just to warn you, but you will be comfortable in the front here. So, thank you for coming out on this rainy morning in Portland. Very nice to see you all. I'm going to spend some time talking about some things that I think will shape all of your futures. Many of you in the room here are much younger than I am. You're going to have a much bigger, longer future than I will. So we're going to talk about some things that I think will shape the world that you will live in and give you some opportunities to participate in shaping that world. You're in this room because you're already participating, or you have a child that is participating in starting to build out what will be the way that the world looks in the future. So I wanted to talk about, just in the time that we have together, a few of the things that I'm tracking. As a futurist and the former futurist at Intel, I spend time thinking about not just how technology will change the world, but how that technology will be used to solve new problems in new ways. So it's about thinking about business models that will be enabled by technology. It's about thinking about the ecosystem into which that technology will go, but also fundamentally thinking about people. How will people's lives be different? How will we shop differently? How will we date differently? How will we go to the toilet differently? I don't know. But how will we live differently as human beings? So, a few things I want to chat about today. Just a number of different technologies. Don't have time to talk about all of the really cool technologies. But we'll spend some time to talk forward. But before we do that, I want to just look back to some history, probably before some of you were born, to give you a feel for just how far we have already come and how far we still have to go. So back in 1987, when I still had hair, this is what the fastest computer in the world looked like. It filled a room, it was liquid cooled, it took 200 kilowatts of energy, which is about 3,000 60-inch LCD TVs worth of power. It didn't come with these 2 little cool people that you see on the screen, I don't think, for your $16 million that it cost. Any of you here have an Apple Watch? Nobody with an Apple Watch? Okay, gentlemen with an Apple Watch. You have twice as much performance as the fastest computer in the world in 1987 on your wrist for $349. So that's happened because technology got better. And technology is going to get a lot better in the next 10 years. My prediction as a futurist is that in the next 10 years, we will see more impact from changes in technology than in the last 50. So this was 30 years ago when I showed you there. Think back 50 years, we're going to see more advance from technology in the next 10 years than the last 50. Because we live in exponential times, computing is improving exponentially. That means that more computing will be deployed in the next 5 years than all of history. So, what are we going to do with that? Well, look at some of the things that you see here. How many of these logos that you see on the screen are things that you consider to be part of your life? An important part of it. How could you live without some of the things you see on the screen here? All of these products, these services, these brands, I mean, Google is a verb now. All of these products and services did not exist 20 years ago today. So we've come a long way. In your lifetimes, the world has changed dramatically. And it will change again in the next 10 years. So how is it going to change? In the next 20 years, I think we're going to use technology to do 4 main things. First thing is, we will hack our surroundings. And by hack, I don't mean hack in a naughty way. I mean hack as in make it more efficient, make it more useful for humans. And hacking our surroundings, think about concentric circles, rings going out from you. So we'll hack our homes, we'll hack our communities, we'll hack our cities, we'll hack our democracies, we'll hack our planet to make it better for humans to live in. And hopefully, if we're smart, for other animals that live alongside us. So that's going to be changing our cities, our transportation systems, all of these things. We're also going to hack our industries. Healthcare is going to look very different in 20 years than it does today. Retail is already looking very different today than it was 20 years ago. Think about Amazon. Every industry, construction, education, media, they're all going to transform dramatically, and we're going to make them better using technology. We're also going to hack ourselves. We're going to make ourselves better. We've always been hacking ourselves. Simple example right here. You know, I hack my eyesight because it's not as good as it used to be, because I'm old now. So we wear glasses, we have pacemakers, but that's just the beginning. We're going to hack our bodies. Bionics, implants, ingestible technology that we swallow and it goes through us with a camera. Implantables. We're going to hack our nervous systems. We're going to hack our DNA. So we're going to change who we are with technology in the next 20 years. And if all of that isn't enough, if we can't achieve the things that we want, if we can't make the world the way we want it, we can't make ourselves the way we want it, we'll just hack our perception of the world, the way that we see the world. So your version of the world will be different than the person next to you's version of the world. If you want to put on a pair of augmented reality glasses 10 years from now and look out at the landscape here and not see buildings but see mountains or a seascape or girls playing volleyball or boys playing volleyball or whatever you like to see out the window, then you'll be able to see that. If you want to see that the buildings are made of cheese, fine, you can see that too. So your version of reality will look different than another person's version of reality. So this is the big landscape of the way the world will look different. It's going to happen because we're building a bridge between the physical world and the digital world. The digital world is improving exponentially. The closer we can build those two together, the more that we can affect and hack the physical world. And the way we're going to do that is with a bunch of technologies. And then in the time that we have together this morning, this is a short talk, we're not going to be able to go through all of these, but many of these technologies are building intimate connections between the physical and the digital world. And one of the things that you participate in, robots, is a part of the digital world having agency, being able to affect the physical world. And we'll dig into a couple of these technologies this morning, and then we'll wrap with a couple of thoughts for you. The first thing I want to talk about is that objects in your life are going to get smart and connected. And the reason that's going to happen is because they're getting cheaper and smaller. Computing is getting cheaper and smaller. You saw that computer that was $16 million, filled a room, and now a computer twice as powerful as on that gentleman's watch over there for $349. This is a $9 computer. It's also more powerful than that $16 million computer you saw from 30 years ago. You can buy a computer for $5 soon, and then they're going to go to $2. So the computers are getting tiny and cheap. This is a computer. It's tiny. How tiny? It's photographed there resting on the edge of a 1-cent coin. It's a project at the University of Michigan. It's the 1mm computer. It doesn't actually do very much. It's not a very powerful computer, but it will be. So imagine what will you be able to do once you can build a computer that's the size of a grain of sand and embed that into the world for essentially no cost. So we have these tiny small computers. What are we going to do with them? I want to give you a couple of examples of things that people are thinking about already. A friend of mine works at MIT Media Lab. He runs a lab there. His name is Dr. David Rose, awesome guy. And he has his students creating what he calls enchanted objects. This is an umbrella. We live in Oregon. You're familiar with rain, I assume? Now, how do you know whether to take an umbrella today? You take out your phone, you peck through, you find the weather app, you look through, you scroll down. Is there rain today? Okay, I need to take an umbrella. This umbrella is connected to the internet, connected to the weather service. You see on the base of the umbrella there's a blue glow. It just glows softly blue to say, it's going to rain today, you need to take me. Simplifies that task. So by making objects smart and connected, you can make life simpler for people. Now, many of you probably don't have a credit card yet, but this is coming for you. And the adults in the room who use credit cards, you know that the way it goes is you go out shopping, you swipe the credit card, and then you go to another shop and you swipe a credit card, and you swipe another one, and then suddenly, oh my goodness, you get the bank balance a month later, and you think, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Because you don't have a feedback loop. You don't have the feedback that says, whoa, Steve, you don't need that another pair of shoes. And so this is a wallet that is connected to your bank account. And it has a variable strength hinge on it. So as you try and open it, if you have a low bank balance, it's harder to open. So you feel the problem. Okay? So again, it's a very high-tech application, but it's a very simple way of giving you that feedback. One of the objects I like to talk about is an imaginary object, doesn't exist yet. It's a smart teddy bear. Now, a teddy bear is mostly used for cuddling. Some of you may still have a teddy bear. It's okay if you do. I have audiences where there are adults who are in their 50s who still admit to having a teddy bear. What if you could make a teddy bear smart and connected? What could it do? If you put cameras in his eyes, you could create a teddy bear pretty easily, actually, that was able to read a book to a child. Optical character recognition, you send the images up to the web, they get translated, the voice comes back, and the teddy bear says what it can read. It gets more interesting. If you could then feed that text into a translation service up in the cloud, you could have a teddy bear that could read a book written in English and read it aloud in French, or Chinese, or Arabic, or whatever language you wanted your kids to learn, or whatever you wanted to learn. Now, how much is a teddy bear like that worth? How much would you pay for a teddy bear that could read books in foreign languages? $200? $300? Maybe it's $50. But the reading service, now that's $5 a month. And you want the language packs for the European languages, that's a $3 a month add-on. And you want Chinese, that's another $2 a month. The reason I'm going through this is to make the point that once you make smart connected objects, you can start to think about monetizing them in a different way. You can start to sell services through them. So start thinking about what smart objects could you build, and what kind of personalities might you put into them. It won't be long before we have washing machines we can talk to. Having to navigate all these dials is crazy. I want to be able to say, here's my underpants, wash them. It should be that easy. I shouldn't have to figure out switches and dials and crazy stuff like that. This is a smart toothbrush, a smart connected toothbrush, which sounds like a stupid idea, but it connects to an app on your phone and gives you feedback on how you're doing brushing your teeth. You think, well, that sounds like a waste of time, Steve. Well, yes and no. Because the dentist that invented this, he uses it because he knows that you brush your teeth properly, morning and night. He knows that you're at a lower risk of cavities. And so instead of giving you dental insurance for $50 a month, he can offer dental insurance for $35 a month. And by the way, that includes all the toothpaste and floss you can use. So it's a dental service now. So what kind of services, what kind of smart objects could you build? And what kind of value could you create around them? What kind of industry could you disrupt by creating a smart object? Second thing I want to talk to you about, world programming. This is the idea that the Internet of Things, the ability to have small, tiny computers and sensors, enables you to understand what's happening in the physical world and control what's happening there. So, for example here, there's a picture of a beer mug on the table. For the adults in the audience only, you will know this frustration that you're in a bar or in a restaurant and you have a drink, maybe it's a Coke, works just as well with a Coke, and your drink runs down and the server has not been by your table, and so you're thirsty and you're waiting for her or him to come by and give you your drink, your next drink. If you had a 3D camera above each table, you could look at the levels of the drink in each of the cups, and when they start to get down, just zzz, give a little buzz to the waitress, swing by table 4, looks like they need some more drinks. You're helping to program the world and make it run just a little bit more efficiently, a little more smoothly. That requires sensors. 3D camera is a sensor. There are many different types of sensors that allow the physical world to be understood by the digital world. And a sensor can be anything from a temperature sensor. You have like 8 or 9 sensors just in each of your phones. GPS is a sensor, for example. Temperature sensors, chemical sensors. Once the digital world understands what's happening in the physical world, it can act on that. Even Wi-Fi hotspots are a sensor. Starbucks in China uses them. They figure out how many